Erwin Ephron was a scholar and a gentleman.
Phenomenal.
Wit,
eloquence,
ability to communicate,
brilliance,
Actionable.
leadership,
Pragmatic.
intelligence,
Demystified.
A man with a giant intellect and simple words.
I am so excited that my good friend and colleague and mentor, Bill Harvey, will be receiving the very first ARF Erwin Ephron Media Demystification Award.
Thank you, ARF, everyone involved. Thank you also, Erwin, for teaching me how to demystify a bit. Frankly, I'm still working on it. None of us can do it the way you could, buddy. I want to share with you a message from Erwin. I'm convinced that this happened for this reason. The last conversation I had with Erwin, he called me. I was at the Grand Hyatt. He called me, reached me on my cell in my hotel room, and he said, "We've got some unfinished business to do together with the ARF." So we had done some business together with the ARF. We had, in 2002, after 3 years of working with a lot of other great people, put out a ARF media model, which sums up kind of all of what Erwin and I, Jim Spaeth, Bill Moran, Desmond Moroney, Phil Brandon, everything we knew at the time about media and about advertising. And so I got to know deeply through that process over 3 years everything that I believed and everything that Erwin believed, and we agreed on pretty much everything. Echoing what Eric Rosa was just talking about, the application of something like a direct marketer's discipline to regular brand advertising, Erwin and I were completely, absolutely linked at the hip on that subject. Both of us believed that the job of media and everybody in media is to do two things for the brand: to drive immediate sales so as to have a positive effect on quarterly earnings, and more importantly, to drive long-term brand equity. And to think that sales is what media is about is still a radical notion, as Eric pointed out. In doing this maximization of the sales and long-term brand equity, Erwin helped teach us, or we learned together as an industry with him at the helm, about certain principles of how to make this work. The one that he felt on that phone call that night was being adequately dealt with was the idea of targeting. He thought we had really sold targeting, and targeting was taking off. But he felt that some of the other principles weren't. One of the other principles, if you read his book, and I think you should, Media Planning, the first 2 chapters are about spot media. He really believed that he called it geo-targeting and he called it spot. And he said, it's additive with what we mean by regular targeting. If you're trying to reach purchasers, that's a good thing. You could do that in national media, you could do that in local media. But if you just buy national media, you're going to be overspending in some markets where the brand has topped out and has no more real opportunity for incremental growth. And you're going to be underspending in other markets where there's opportunity. He felt that was lagging. Recency theory. He believed that was a theory that should have been immediately, systematically exploited by every brand, and every brand should be running in continuity. And that wasn't happening either. Now, this wasn't a down conversation at all. Erwin was never one to curse the darkness, but always to light a candle. So this was a conversation about the fun we were going to have and what we were going to do next, which unfortunately didn't come to pass, although I'm trying to carry out some of those things in his memory and because they're right. One thing of particular interest to him has always been the attentional and psychological value of the media environment that delivers the audience to the creative. He was very interested in adding the idea of attention to the media model, which of course we did. And I think he would be therefore happy to see what Dave Poltrak and I present tomorrow at 10 a.m., which is about that subject. So there's still a lot to learn, and the good news is there's still a lot of work for us in the room to do. And I look forward to working with all of you and to learning from you. Thank you again, ARF, for everything.